rassure pas des masses. Hi everyone. Odoo enthusiasts, thank you for joining this online roadshow with a new subject today, a new format also. I mean, we're online thanks due to the COVID situation. Today we would like to discuss and introduce you why Odoo is the right solution for mid-markets and corporates. What we will do is obviously we have several topics to cover, challenges that you face. So if you're looking for another solution to cover your needs in mid-market and corporates, or if you're not happy about your solution, or you would like to cover one part of your business, one department with one specific app of Odoo, well, this presentation is for you. Well, first of all, we would like to introduce ourselves. So my name is Salvatore. I'm managing the indirect sales of Odoo, so the sales via partners. And today I'll be presenting with my colleague Lucas, that is managing the team of mid-market and corporate, so specifically selling to the accounts like you. On top of that, we will have three speakers today, three official partners, sponsors of our events, so that we would like to thank, and pretty much they will show you a couple of references, projects that they have managed, that have a decent size, so that are also coming from the mid-market and corporate. So we thank the partners for joining us and sponsoring these events: Odoo Business Solution, Brain Tech Group, and Open Fellas. The content of today, well, we will start first with introducing what is Odoo, maybe also explain a bit the positioning of Odoo versus different solutions that you guys might have in your companies. Then we will cover four main challenges that companies like you have. So here we will cover classic topics that mid-market and corporate companies have and can fix with Odoo. We will explain you the Odoo methodology and then move on to use cases and references that will be presented by partner and my colleague Lucas. Last but not least, obviously, we're there to cover a couple of questions that you might have, and we'll go through a Q&A session. Well, first of all, what is Odoo? Well, as you can see, Odoo is a suite of business application divided into different part of the operation. So you can see sales, finance, operations, manufacturing, human resources. The beauty of Odoo is that all those apps are integrated apps. They communicate with each other, and that defines really what Odoo is. So compared to classic ERPs where you have to take the full package, what Odoo offers is the possibility to start with one application and then step by step grow, or take a full suite of application to have a more classic ERP approach. Well, in terms of positioning, well, we have taken this particular graph that we believe is quite interesting. So one thing that you can see is we have two axes on this graph. The first one is the business scope, meaning the number of functionalities that an ERP solution can cover. Second thing is the user friendliness. Is it easy to use for your company and for your collaborator? Well, we identified two types of actors. The first type being, well, the classic ERP leaders on the markets: SAP, Oracle, Microsoft Dynamics. Well, those are really robust and strong solutions. Unfortunately, they have also the reputation of being not user-friendly, so quite difficult to implement, to use, and so that will be the first type of solution that you can find on the market. Second type of solution that you can find on the market are the solution that we call the one-app solution. So here we're talking about QuickBooks, Shopify, Trello, HubSpot. Those are actually easy to use. Usually they cover, well, they are user-friendly and easy to use. Unfortunately, they cover only one specific part of the business, and they don't cover the full scope of your operation, which can create, as we will see later on, couple of complexity in the management of the software and also of the exchange of information in general. Well, as you can see, Odoo here combines the best of the two worlds, meaning that we have a super large scope in terms of features with a large set of apps that can help you manage better your operation on a daily basis. On the other hand, well, Odoo really try to stay user friendly, easy to customize, easy to use, and quite interesting to also use on a daily basis. Well, as I said, what we will do is we will try to cover we have identified four main challenges that we have, thanks to our experience, identified with mid-market and corporates, and try to show you how Odoo can tackle those particular issues. Let's start with challenge number one, integration, right? So in general, we know that you as a mid-market and or corporate companies have several solutions. You already have tools, you already have softwares, you might have ERPs. Well, in general, you have tools that help you manage your daily operation because of the size that you reached already. Well, this being said, it can create some complexity. As you can see on my slide, you can have several solutions, each solution managing one part of the business. Unfortunately, those solutions do not communicate with each other, and that creates, well, because of multiple software, multiple also entities, you might have different offices, different companies involved in exchange of information. Well, it involves multiple login logouts, no dynamic updates, and unfortunately double encoding, which result in loss in time, and we says loss in time means also loss of revenue and simply profitability in your company. What we try to do here is we try to show you that Odoo is one platform where each app communicates with each other. So in one single platform, you can have access to, well, all the sales part with a multi-sale channel, but also an access to your operation that can come from projects management, can come also from inventory management, from maintenance, from activities that your team need to perform, being connected to the finance part, and also, well, simply the support that you might have. Well, it's a good thing to show you slides, but I think what talks the most is simply to show you how it works in the software. Well, I will try to show you today is simply this integration between several applications. So the scope will be simple, and I will show you how fast and or easily I can go from one part of the operation to the other one. So we will simply start with a common use case, right? So you're a company selling alarms. You have a set of alarms that you sell, plus a subscription that you sell for maintenance of those alarms, but also for the contracts, the security contract that you have. On top of that, you need to have a couple of services performed by your team, and you be able to provide also a level of support, right? So let's say that we have a customer that might be interested. So we go to the sales application. Well, by the way, this is the main menu of Odoo with the set of application. For the purpose of this demonstration, we have installed a set of application, but as I said, you have a lot of applications that are available that can be installed. Let's start with our common use case where we will start with a new quotation. A quotation for my customer Azure interior, and I will use an alarm full service contracts. As you can see here, we have different product, different set of apps that will trigger also different action and different interaction also with with departments in your company. We have the material, right? The alarm device itself, the services, the installation, but also a contract. Well, now that the quote is ready to send, I can simply send it by email to my customer, and then if I receive a confirmation from my customer, confirm this particular quotation. Please follow me here because it goes fast. The fact to confirm the sales order will trigger several action, several communication to other departments in my company, and that's exactly the integration that we want to show you with Odoo. So as you can see here, the smart buttons that are here that are, well, actually showing the integration between the different applications. By confirming this sales order, as you can see, I triggered several actions that I need to do. One subscription, so that's one contract. We'll get back to that a bit later. One delivery order, meaning that I need to deliver my alarm device, but also one task that my team needs to perform. Well, first thing we will do is check the delivery order that is related to my sales order. Well, as you can see, I have a document that is showing to the person managing the warehouse that indeed I need to deliver one alarm device. This alarm device is actually produced by our company, so by our alarm company. And what I need to do is this also triggers, because I configured it this way, a manufacturing order to actually produce this alarm device. So what I'm going to see here, I'm going to see that in my manufacturing order, we can find back this action, this alarm device that was triggered by the action of confirming the sales order. Well, here is the manufacturing order triggered by my action. As you can see, we need to check, obviously, thanks to the bill of material that I've created, the alarm device is composed by a camera and a detector. What we need to do is we need to check if we have those two products available. And I can see that in my stock, I have indeed 4 pieces of detector. Unfortunately, I'm missing the cameras. Automatically, thanks to Odoo and the integration that Odoo has, well, the fact that I need those cameras to produce my alarm device was also triggered in the purchase order. So I'm going to show you how this integration is present in Odoo. If I go to my purchase order, I can see simply that my supplier is a Canon. So I'm going to look for Canon Security. And you can see that here, the 3 pieces of camera have been ordered to Canon. So you can really see the integration from the sales order that triggers a manufacturing order. And from the manufacturing order, we triggered a purchase order to make sure that I have enough camera to produce actually my alarm device. So I confirm this order. I received those products. And thanks to that, now I can go back to my manufacturing order and produce my alarm device. So I'm going to check availability, and now that this is available, I will be able to produce the alarm that I needed. There you go. So you can see in a couple of clicks, I've actually produced what I needed. So I have the alarm devices that are ready to deliver to the customer. Those alarm devices were produced thanks to 2 components, camera and detector. I didn't have enough camera in my warehouse, therefore it triggered automatically a purchase order in the system. Well, now that we have all the products that are available, we can go back, as I said, to my sales order. Done to Azure Interior. And the alarm device, the delivery order is actually ready to do. So now we can actually deliver that particular product. That's the first action that was triggered by the confirmation of my sales order. But as I said, I didn't trigger only this particular action. As you can see, I also triggered, on top of the materials that were created, delivered, etc., also a maintenance contract. So it created a small button here with a link to the subscription application. What you can see is that here I have a new subscription, a maintenance contract for 1 year, right? That will need to bill on the recurring base with the date of next invoice in 1 year for a maintenance contract to Azure Interior. Well, as easy as it is, in 1 click, to do a small wrap up, I created a manufacturing order, I produced my products, I deliver my products, I created a subscription, and on top of that, I'm able to simply create my invoice and register that in the accounting. In a couple of clicks, I believe a couple of minutes also, we were able to create an integration interaction between sales, purchase, so the purchase department, the manufacturing department, but also the accounting department, not leaving Odoo at all, not having to log in, log out in several solutions, and being able simply to avoid a loss of information, and also being avoid to have several communication issue between departments. Well, that was it for challenge number 1. Now let's move on to challenge number 2. Well, as we said, it's also a link with the first challenge. One main issue that mid-market and corporate companies are reporting us is communication. Communication between employees, between employees and customers, between several departments, between company is international. So we'll see how we're going to actually tackle that particular issue. Well, what creates confusion is indeed, well, the communication in companies is mostly done by email, and so the problem is that the communication is not really centralized. On top of that, companies complains about, well, they complain about problem when it comes to hierarchy levels, meaning that I need to get a validation from my manager and from my N+1, N+2, N+3, etc. As I said, the problem comes from the fact that nothing is really centralized, and this creates confusion, issues, and lack of communication between departments. We are going to show you how with Odoo it is easy to handle. Let's go to my help desk application. So the aim of the help desk application is to manage issues that customers might face. So they send you a request to help them, right? So I can see that I have several tickets that are available. And here I have a new issue alarm sent by my customer, Lucas de Liège, that I need to handle. I'm opening this, and here what I can see is, well, simply that Lucas is not really happy about the services he received, and he has an issue with his alarm. In a couple of clicks, I'm going to show you how easily in Odoo I can first send an email to Lucas saying that I will handle his particular request using a template, right? Here I can see all the history of communication that I have with Lucas. I can see the email I just sent. That's the first thing. So it comes with the communication directly with the customer itself. Second thing is that I can easily ask someone to take care of this and simply communicate and see, for example, those are all the people from my company. And I can ask a specific person, can you please check what is wrong with this particular alarm and contact the customer. So easily I can ask feedback, issues, information to other team members, to other departments, or even to other offices in other countries. This log will actually trigger a notification to Hélène Broekhuizen. So that's one of my colleagues, and she will receive a notification with my message, being able to perform the right action as soon as possible. Last but not least, well, let's say that I receive a couple of information. I'm also able to schedule activities, not only for myself, but also for my colleagues, for my employees, or for people of my team. So I can easily say, please call this customer to check what is wrong with his alarm. I can easily assign this to myself to see the tasks that I perform on a daily basis, but also assign this to someone else from the team, Lucas, Hélène, well, anyone that is actually one of my collaborators. Okay. When this is scheduled, obviously you can see all the action that need to be performed on this particular tickets in this case. And simply as Mitchell admin, I can also see the different tasks that I have to perform where I'm late, but also today. Well, you can see that in 2 minutes, I was able to receive a customer request, answer this customer with the reception of an email. I was able to tag and to communicate with someone from my company or a collaborator in general. I was able to assign myself a task to do to avoid miscommunication and pretty much to warn people that I'm taking over this particular task. But I'm also able to assign tasks to other people, other team member of my companies. This, again, the idea here is to increase your communication, avoid miscommunication, avoid double encoding, avoid two people working on the same problem and two people performing the same actions. Well, that was it for challenge number 2. So we will go back to the next challenge, which is customization and integration, and I will ask my colleague Lucas to show you how to fix that particular challenge.
Okay, thank you, Salva, for this presentation of Odoo. Just a good beginning with all the app that we have. So we speak about the challenge number 3, so it's customization and integration. Your company is unique, and we know that you need to adapt the software to your specific process, and Odoo for that is the right solution. We have developed different tools to do that. The first one will be the tools called Odoo Studio. So I will show you. So with the tools Odoo Studio, you become a developer. Okay, it's a system where will allow you to create, customize your application easily in a few clicks. So let's go for an example. So we imagine that link to the subscription that has been generated from the sales order. You want to link the serial number to the subscription to know if there is a maintenance contract on that serial number. So for that, you have just to open the tools Odoo Studio, and you have different view in the system. And what we want to do here is to edit the form view in the system. For that, we will select, we'll create a new field, okay, which is called the serial number. So it's a many to one field, okay. And I will search for that field in my system. And now I will be able to link easily my serial number to my subscription. Okay. So when I click here, I can say that, for example, for this subscription, Azure Intérieur, generated previously, I can say that, for example, that is that lot number with connected for the maintenance contract. Okay. So from the subscription I see here, but what will be interesting, it's from the lot number, I can see if there is a serial number. And to do that, I just do in a few clicks. I go here and I will continue to customize the solution, and I will select my serial number subscription. Sorry. Subscription. Sorry, I go here. Up. And in one click, so when I go on my serial number, so that was the number 01. So if I go back here, up, serial number. Sorry, check here, a lot number 1. Up here, I can see that I have one subscription who is linked to this serial number, and I can easily navigate from one menu to the other menu. Okay. But that's not it, what you can do with the tools Odoo Studio. The tools Odoo Studio will allow you to automate it process. So, for example, when a new contract is created, it will be interesting for you, for the salesperson, that you have to call the customer 1 month after the creation of the subscription to take some news to see if the alarm is going well and if there is any problem. Okay. So with Studio, you can create an automated action. So you just click here and you will say, based on the creation of the subscription, what I want to do, I want to create a next activity, and that will be to call the customer 30 days after that. And you will see that in just 2 seconds, customer, in 2 seconds, you have created a specific process in Odoo. So with these tools, you will be really agile in the way that you manage your company. It's easy to make a new process. Okay, so for example, you see now I create a new subscription. Is created, and you see automatically in 30 days I have a call to do that I can check here in my subscription in the future. And that's just a beginning about Odoo Studio. Odoo Studio will allow you also to edit a report in the system. So report can be, for example, an invoice or a delivery slip. You can just by drag and drop add new field. Okay. So that's the first tool to create small customization, or to create, for example, a proof of concept and to test your customization. Sometimes you will need development, and for that we have a partner who can do a specific development for your project. And we have create a platform we call Odoo SH. It's a platform who will allow you to manage the different environments for the hosting. So you will be able to test your development. You will be able to give an access to your key user to test the solution before to merge your development in a production database. Okay. And the advantage of these tools is that Odoo SH is connect directly with GitHub. Is where you will host your specific code of your project. We know also that maybe you will need to connect Odoo with other system. Okay, and for that we have an external API within XML and JSON RPC, and you will be able to connect easily your system just with a small development to other tools. And if you want to have more information, you just type API Odoo, and you will find all the documentation. And it's really easy to connect system with all the module in Odoo. Also, we have an app store with more than 25,000 applications. So if you need, for example, to connect the system with another system, because you have, for example, already another website on another e-commerce, and you don't want at the beginning to use the e-commerce application of Odoo, it's not really interesting to start from scratch a new development, because that will cost you a lot. That will takes time. So we have this app store, and online you can buy application, and the integrator will help you to implement this solution. So that was for the challenge number 3. Okay. So now we'll check the challenge number 4. Is you need to become an enterprise 4.0. And for that, there is different new technology, and Odoo it's modern software. So we have developed the Internet of Things in Odoo, the IoT. So with the IoT, you are going to improve and automate your business process. Okay. The system will allow you to connect device and objects with Odoo directly. And you will see that it's really easy to set up because there is already some device who has already been developed, and you have just to plug and play, and you will be able to start to use the system. And an example, you can, for example, connect a digital caliper to make any measurement for your quality control in your manufacturing process. And that's standard in Odoo, and so you don't have to do a lot of development for that. Also, you have seen that during the coronavirus, the crisis, it was important for you to become a digital company. So for that, we have an app which is called Odoo Documents. It's an app where you will be able to share, send, categorize, and archive your different documents. The good thing of this application, this app is also integrated with the e-signature. So if you will not waste time to printing, scanning the document, and ask somebody to sign the document. Okay. But we will do another example with the application we call OCR, where you will be able to automatically create a supplier invoice from Odoo. So let's go in the product. So we imagined that you receive an invoice from your supplier. so in the documents. So you can ask, for example, to the supplier to send the invoice to accounting at the name of your company.com. And in Odoo, you will see all the documents here, all the invoice. So you can check the invoice. So we see here the invoice. And in a few clicks, you can create different actions. For example, ask for a validation, or for example, send directly this document to the accounting module of Odoo. So here we'll do that. We create a vendor bills. So when I'm here in the accounting, I will be able to send my invoice for digitalization. So it will take a couple of seconds to do this digitalization. Also, you can say that that will be automatically. And here you see in a few seconds, automatically the system have recognized the information about the supplier. You have checked the tax, the product, and you don't lose time to encode all the information about this aspect for your content. Okay. Also, Odoo is modern because we have integrated machine learning and artificial intelligence in Odoo. An example, for example, is Odoo will determine automatically the probability to close a deal based on the data that you have on this lead. So we say, for example, for this country, you have that chains. With that kind of customer, you have that chains, and that will help you to manage your forecasted revenue with Odoo. So that was just an example. The goal, of course, is to analyze your need and based on that to show you the way that you can use the system. So let's go to the next step. What we think make a bad ERP? It's an ERP which is hard to set up. When it is really it takes time, it is really expensive to set up an ERP. With Odoo, it's really in a couple of clicks you can start to configure the system, but you can do also complex things with Odoo. You can manage a really big inventory or big manufacturing company. We'll explain you some example later. It's important also to have an ERP with really user friendly. And the good thing with Odoo, with the integration, is the same logic in all the business application. So if you have trained someone, for example, on the sales module, where when you will have to use the human resource module, that will be the same logic. So you don't have to train them again to another software. And also the good thing with Odoo is the pricing. It's only 18 euro per user per month, and you can use 10 app just for that price. So that's the good thing with Odoo. And I will explain you the principle of the implementation of Odoo. And that's the same principle if you work with an integrator or if you work with Odoo. Because we want to have an implementation methodology with modern, okay? And for that, it's important to keep the solution as standard as possible. So based on the need, we will show you the way that you can use the solution in standard. And we have really a big company. For example, I have an example of a company of 400 people where we have made only 8 hours of development to use the system. Okay. It's important also to deliver the solution as fast as possible. Okay. So it's important to have different phase in your project. And after a couple of weeks, that your end user will be able to test the system, to use it, to give their feedback, to improve the solution. And one of the main challenge, of course, will be to keep the implementation affordable and in the budget that you have. And for that, it's important to follow the recommendation of the integrator of your solution. So that's the methodology of Odoo. How do we work? The first step will be to qualify your project. So you can take contact with one of the integrator. He will analyze your need. He will present you a demonstration of the solution, and he will explain you the methodology, the way that we implement the solution. And if you are interested to go to the next step, the goal is to do a gap analysis. A gap analysis, it's a consultant who will come on site to analyze all your needs, will do workshop with your end user to see, to check if this feature is standard or need customization, or maybe if we can find a workaround. Also, what we can do is a proof of concept, and after is to implement your project in a different phase, and of course to train your key user and your end user before to put them in production. So that was just a short explanation about your methodology of implementation. If you want, there is other webinar about these topics. So let's go to the next part of the presentation.
Well, thank you, Lucas, for this. Well, we have tried briefly to cover a couple of challenges that we believe mid-markets and corporate companies have. Obviously, we do understand that your company might have different challenges or a complexity that's an additional complexity that we'll need to handle. So feel free to contact us, to contact our partner that are experts in implementation, that are expert also in the solution, and that can easily well try to show you a couple of our application and a solution for maybe a specific challenge that you might have in your company too. Well, this being said, obviously we wanted to show you here that Odoo has 5 million happy users with big names, right? With mid-market and corporates also that are already part of our customers. And so to show you also that the solution is ready for you and ready for your implementation. Well, this being said, we believe that the right way to show you that was also to talk more about our references, right? So here I will ask one of our partner, OpenFellas, simply to introduce his reference, his customer, and so OpenFellas is one of the partners that will be presenting, and then we'll go through all the partners that are sponsoring these events. So OpenFellas, BrainTech, Odoo Business Solution, and obviously Lucas will also present you something that we are that one of the project that was managed directly by Odoo. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Salvatore, thank you very much. We want to present you a little bit more and an overview from OpenFellas. I'm sitting here together with my business partner, Ronald Hanke is one of the founder from OpenFellas, and I'm Johannes Nortos, CEO. Yeah, we founded in 2010, means 10 years experience here, and since 2014 we are gold partner by Odoo, and we are 100% concentrating on implementation Odoo. Yeah, we are growing very fast in the past 10 years, up to today 22 employers, mostly they sitting in Munich, Belgrade, and new in Switzerland, in Zug. And we have 60 to 40 consultancy development employer rate. And when we come a little bit further on here, we have the focus in our consultancy is at 80 to 20% rate in the projects. So we handle now 48 customers, and we have no focus on them. Commerce, manufacturers, or services, and really different customers in the size from coming from 6 are the smallest, growing up to 3,000 employees, what we are handle here. So, and just for showing you some examples from our clients, when you look to the right side from the slide, you see Check24. We have handled this since more than 3 years. It's Zwilling, also a very international project, and also Stadt Augsburg and Fraunhofer Institute. Yes, these are the small overview from Open Fellows. We are sitting headquartered in Munich. Yeah, no, I'm over to my colleague.
Well, just 1 second. I think we are losing you a bit. So the last 30 seconds we couldn't hear you anymore.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Just as Johannes said previously, we came from a technical part. So in the former times, we have been very much technical. No, please. Okay. Can you go back shortly?
Yeah.
Okay. We have been very technical, and we more or less found out, as your principal says, that the consultancy, that the tool has to be flexible, that you need to understand the core processes, which is actually done by consultants and not by developers. We have been contacted quite some time ago by a company called Capera. They are a daughter company of the Core Estate Group, which is a pretty big, or one of the biggest real estate companies in Europe. As you can see, they're having over 300 employees, and we have been part of a pitch against SAP and Reliant, which is actually a solution offered by, or based on Navision, not offered by Navision, but based on Navision. Their focus is actually on property management and accounting, and maybe as next we go for the next slide. During the pitch phase, actually they came across a Excel list of 281 requirements. I was actually looking this up just a week ago, and I was still impressed, which actually shows the difference between the expectations by a lot of customers when they plan to implement a new functionality, and actually what you previously said, which is the principles to go with a sort of, this word is still around, which is called minimum viable product. So which is actually nothing else than Odoo standard. So if we would have done, or if we would have agreed to create 281 requirements, we are pretty sure this would have not been done in 7 months. But that's actually what we managed to
Okay. Well, I think we have a little sound problem here.
Of course, was made.
Now it's
you
coming.
You can still hear us?
Yes, now we can still hear you. Yeah.
We had the same issues with your presentation as well. So I'm not sure if it's us, you, or Jitsi.
Okay.
Okay. I hope you not too much got lost from what I was saying. So that's actually the main part.
Actually, you were at the part where you were saying that if you had to wait, if you have to actually do the 281 requirements, then it wouldn't be a 7 months to production.
Exactly. So, and within these 7 months, we were able to also implement or actually migrate the data from the previous platforms. So they were having several different applications. And that's only possible by, actually, that's what we believe, and that's what you also said, is only possible by starting within the first milestone, taking Odoo as a standard application without many implementation, only what you need at least And when the software is implemented, you can start with the optimizations, you can start with the automations, everything that actually with integrations, building interfaces and such, but not in the very beginning. And that's actually what also happens, and that was of course one of the consequences. We had to reorganize parts of the companies. For example, we had to create a new department, something that was done previously with accounting. We created a purchase department, some processes they never had before. Nevertheless, if they understood, they have not understood the requirements, or if that was not possible with the previous solution, something that we cannot judge, but of course we have not had the time to judge it. And that's something that we seriously believe. We believe that the consultancy is actually generating sustainable solutions besides development. So development is actually making everything more risky because you're losing a lot of flexibility within the
Okay. Great. Well, thank you very much for the presentation of this reference. We'll go to the next slide, the next reference that the partner has to present. So we'll ask BrainTech to introduce his company and simply to go to the next reference. Thank you very much.
Sorry, we got lost. Hopefully not too much.
So, thank you. My name is Nicholas. I'm a senior at BrainTech, and I'm glad to present you BrainTech as a company and also one of our references. So, BrainTech is a company which also has our place since a few years in Germany, in Switzerland, implement Odoo projects for international corporations as well as for local startups. So which performance is that we provide this quality and also professional support. The array of services we provide includes what you can see on the left-hand side. So we do consulting, management, also optimizing, of course, hosting, trading, and customer care. So from the start until the support after the go live, we provide everything that you need. Then a few facts. So the company was established back in the year 2000. We have 7 offices in Europe, so in Germany, in Switzerland, and in Spain. We have currently 59 employees, still growing, and we can provide support in a lot of languages. So there is English, French, German, Spanish, Italian. And a few of the references I want to mention here. One is Lei Xinghong Limited, which is in the automotive industry. We have M Industry, a Swiss company, which is the biggest retailer which we have in Switzerland, but also trades internationally. We have the Württembergische Versicherung, one of the biggest companies in Germany. Apus Mineral, a company producing beverages. And last but not least, the Swiss Post. So those are just a few names to show you what kind of projects we do, in what industries we work. And on the next slide, I will show you more details about this one reference, the M Industry. So this is, as I said, a company which belongs to this Micro Industry corporation. And the project was distributed internationally. So we had locations in France, in Germany, in Japan, and China. And M Industry faced the challenge that they had to implement an ERP system for the new subsidiaries in the different countries. And the time for the implementation was very limited. So here we were talking about some weeks, in some cases a few months, but really we had a short time frame. And in China, one of the first locations we did, the time from start to go live was only 4 weeks. So this is something which is certainly a big success if you manage to introduce an ERP system like that in a few weeks in a big corporation. So I will outline briefly what the pain points were and time, and also how we managed to do that. Because it was not something really small. From the perspective, we had the apps, purchasing, inventory, sales, invoicing, and quite a lot of, but most of them standard. And here we are talking about more than 500 users. So training people and making sure that everyone is out something which is easy. So we had to work on that as well. So from the points, probably that for the subsidiaries, they did not have any integrated ERP system. So we really had to introduce something new, and the choice was Odoo. The other pain was the limited time for this implementation. As I said, a few weeks, maybe a few months. At the end, what we managed to achieve in terms of efficiency improvements, this is that they really had this fully integrated ERP system. So from the ordering, the purchasing, to the accounting, everything was really in Odoo. It was fast. This was one of the requirements. So it had to work at a certain date, and we should deliver that. And also a big advantage from that project was that Odoo is an intuitive solution. And that means the users, the employees, they understand how Odoo works. And it works well because you have visual elements, you have highlights, you have hard buttons, you can chat, you can communicate internally. So it is easy to understand. And in China, we only did 2 days of training, and that was enough so that the employees of this company could work with the system and life and fine. Also, another point which was important for the success is that we tried to stay as close as possible to the Odoo standard. We did a few customizations, but not many. And this also allowed us to move fast, do a lot through configuration. And with this, we could cut down the time which we needed for the first go live. So, yeah, a few more elements on how we managed to do that. Something we try to do as well is we try to be agile. So as BrainTech, we work only in agile methods. So we have Scrum adopted as a project methodology, which means that we work in small iterations. So we try to deliver something frequently to show that to the customer, and then proceed from there. This is something which is really efficient, and it also reduces the risk to the customer, because the customer can see very early what we do, can give us some feedback, can also request some changes if necessary, and then we progress in those small but fast steps. And with that, we reach our goal very fast and also in an efficient way. And in the case of China, what we did is that we sent a small team to China. So we really had consultants on that, project manager, one developer to do small customizations immediately. So everyone got on site and managed to pull this off, do the training on site. And this is how we managed to do it. And yeah, it worked out very well. And after that, the rollout was done to other countries as well. And we were able to do more projects with the customer. And this is actually how we believe it should be. So you make a good project with the customer, and from there, you can put together, evolve, and build trusted relationships for the future. So this is what I wanted to show you about this reference about the industry. And if you want to know more about Framework, feel free to go to our website and read about some more projects, send us a message. So thank you very much for your attention, and back to you, Lucas, Salvatore.
Well, thank you for sharing that great reference. So right now I'm going to ask Lucas to introduce one of the reference that was implemented directly by Odoo, which is Wavestone.
Yeah, thank you. So I will present you a reference in a different sector. It's a company whose name is Wavestone. It's a consulting firm, so it's a services company. It's an international company based in 10 different countries with more than 4,000 consultants. They are also listed on the Euronext in Paris. What is interesting in this reference is the fact that it was a short time to implement the solution. In less than 6 months, we have implemented more than 50% of the customization, and the user grow from 500 user to 2,500 in 6 months. And so you see here the capability of Odoo to reply to larger scope, but and also to put in production a high volume of user. And another fact about this reference is now with Odoo, they are able to face their international expansion. So every time that, for example, they are buying a new consulting firm, their goal is to transfer them to Odoo, and so to train these people to work the Odoo for the business. And in terms of application, what we have implemented, of course, the sales, the project management, all the human resource application to manage, for example, the expense, the planification, and that project was started in 2017. So that was just a short presentation of Wavestone. So I will give to.
Yeah, last but not least, we'll ask Odoo Business Solution to introduce also its reference.
Yeah, hello, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Tobias. I'm Managing Director of Odoo Business Solutions. Yeah, and before we go into one project that we have done last year, I'd like to introduce ourselves briefly. Well, we are headquartered in Germany, in Olpe, close to Cologne. We have further offices in Europe, Scandinavia, Denmark, in Switzerland, and since a couple of weeks as well, in the US and in Canada. So we are quite spread there. Well, we were very, very proud of being awarded Best Partner Europe last year by Odoo. And we were a bit surprised about that, but of course, that was a very nice achievement. And well, below you see some of the projects we have done, and that is just some references showing a bit the kind of projects we do. So with Protel, we have a software provider, service company. They actually doing hotel software with a few hundred employees. Below, we have a company that is doing industrial services, Gamma Test. Then with Airbus and Your Name Research, we have quite a big company, especially Airbus. We, of course, don't do the full ERP with Airbus, but we manage in Hamburg a workshop for them, or workshops. Then if we go further, we have as well some companies that have a very traditional business. AirTech, for example, company long time in business, but as well we do have with RoboDev startups, which we have now for a couple of years already, which have grown as well with us. So that shows, of course, nicely the scalability of Odoo. Yeah, and then on the right side, we have Coepto, which is a retail company, and below we have eSolutions, which is a daughter to Audi. So as well here we manage a certain process. The same we have done for BMW as well, a corporation where we don't manage the full process, of course, but we do part of it. So this is definitely something that you can do very nicely with Odoo. Well, our management team is coming from corporate businesses, and therefore we focus as well on those businesses. So we have broad experience on bigger companies and corporate businesses with that. Generally, we work quite international as well, and not only with our colleagues over there, but as well in various partnerships. And here we, of course, use the great Odoo community with all other partners. I think that's something as well unique in the industry. That comes certainly from the open source background, but there we have made some successful projects with as well companies that are abroad. Yeah, our business philosophy, just to bring it in one sentence, even though like fulfillment and customization, individualization is a real strength nowadays of us, we still try to, as the others have mentioned as well, try to use Odoo standard and existing tools with the 25,000 apps we have just heard and so on. So there's a lot available already on Odoo. Yeah, and we try to use it as best as possible in order to grow. So here we follow fully the Odoo general strategy. Well, if you need further information, of course, regarding us, then we have a website and you can, of course, contact us directly and we are happy to give you some more information. But now I'd like to go to our project, which we have done last year. The project we have done and the customer is selected because I think it was an ideal implementation. The company is called AH Industries. They're with more than 300 users and employees, a big manufacturing company. You see right on the pictures what kind of products they do. And I come really from manufacturing and I was astonished on how precise those big elements are. So they have in general 4 international locations and they were running different solutions of Microsoft Navision and a lot of Excel. So the Microsoft solutions were as well not so well integrated. They were sometimes old and so on. So they had to go for a new solution. And we were on a pitch with Microsoft solution. Microsoft is very strong especially in Denmark. And while we won it in the end, I show you on the next slide why. Before going there, we had a very tight timeline, and that was as well something that was one hurdle. So we had to go live within 4 months, which we successfully achieved. Come to that on the next page. And I mean, the implementation or the major purpose was to implement the full ERP and CRM system. So they wanted to really have one solution in the end. The project is not 100% finalized yet, so we are still, of course, building. But I mean, I'd like to focus here on the first phases that we've done, and that was really done how projects of that size should be managed from our point of view. Yeah, what were their major requirements? On the one hand side, they had problems with traceability, so they didn't have full traceability on material, and that was something we could almost achieve in Odoo standard. That was an easy one for us, but they had problems with it. Secondly, they were looking for a fully integrated solution, so they didn't have a really connection between the systems. They were all independent and so on. So they were looking into one integrated system, which is as well a very big benefit of Odoo. And therefore, especially the CEO wanted to have a consolidated view on the whole structure in the end, and that he couldn't achieve with the former solution. So that was something. And especially the consolidation now with Odoo 13 is really neat and really nicely done. As being a manufacturing company, they had several requests on really having the manufacturing process very flexible. So they had sourcing implemented within the manufacturing process, subcontracting within the manufacturing process. They had to change to machines, even though the orders were confirmed and so on and so forth. Here we had to do some customization. Now in Odoo 13, so the implementation was based on Odoo 12. Now in Odoo 13, we can do already far more in Odoo standard. Yeah, therefore as well here, very nice development again from Odoo 12 to Odoo 13. Well, they have a target to enhance digitalization, IoT. So they wanted to connect machines to the system and so on. And that is, of course, as we have seen as well, possible with Odoo. Yeah, and something they were lacking as well with their previous software is they needed everything multi. So multi-currency, company, language. They were working in several countries and so on. And that is as well something Odoo delivers in Odoo Standard. Well, if we look on below on project phases, and that is something we do always with those kind of projects, we have a proof of concept phase that is normally between 2 and 4 months. In that case, it was 4 months. It took a bit longer to make a final decision on Odoo. And then when we had to go live, we were really quick. So we had we went into configuration customization in 3 sprints. We did this developments in these 3 sprints within the 2 months. Then we had 1 month's data migration testing, and then 1 month's training and go live. Normally, I would say for such a project, you need about 6 months minimum. But in that case, we only had the 4 months, and finally they were quite happy and happy with the project that we can see on the right-hand side. We got some customer feedback. That feedback is originally taken from them, word by word. So they were very happy with the fast execution that they were not, I mean, that they had not seen with their previous software. But then what was very good as well, that we have been on site to the right time. Yeah, I mean, we work a lot online, so remotely, that's very good, but on certain critical areas, you have to be on site, for example, during go live and the end user training, for example. There are some critical processes in the whole process there you should be on site. They were very happy with our consultancy in the end, speedy, confident delivery of services. And that is an aspect which is as well quite important. We are challenging our customers, and they liked it. So we want to understand the business before we go into programming. There's many Odoo partners that go first into program, not one of what you've seen today. We are working pretty much the same way, I think. But there's many partners that focus on programming, but we want to understand business first, and then we can adapt if necessary, even though we try to stick to Odoo Standard. So that was a brief introduction into that project. I mean, if you'd like to get some more information there, we are, of course, very happy to inform you and to get the information to you. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Tobias, for introducing this particular reference. Well, we are done with our presentation. So before going to the Q&A session, I would like to thank again, well, first you for joining this particular conference. We tried to tackle a couple of challenges and show you a couple of references that are already using Odoo in a corporate world. And I would like also to thank the partners and well for joining us and for sponsoring this event. So feel free to contact them if we know that each project has its specificity, has its challenges. So feel free to contact OBS, BrainTech, or OpenFellas. You can find the contact detail in this particular presentation. Well, this being said, I would like to go back to, we'll see if we can cover a couple of questions. So I will stop sharing my screen, and if you have any question, feel free to ask it on the YouTube page, and we'll try to cover those questions. Okay, well, I guess we were super clear. It seems that there is no real question. The questions are coming. We have a small lag between.
There is a question concerning the ticketing and help desk. To know that if we reply to an email, if we keep someone in CC. So yeah, I think it's more a functional question. So it's based on the way that you can use the chatter. So it's important to understand that when you receive an email in Odoo, and if there is someone in CC, that there will be a follower of the ticket. So when you reply to this email, the people who are in CC will receive the email. I know that just I think different a couple of times ago with Odoo, but with the new version, that bug has been fixed. There is another question from Manuel. Any industry where you see bigger, smaller challenge with the implementation? Maybe we can ask to one partner.
Yeah, maybe as an introduction, I can say that it really, well, we know that there are some, it really depends on the flow itself. So you can have several companies in different industries having a different flow. I would say it's also important to know it's also the customer responsibility. A successful implementation comes from a customer responsibility too. Being able to explain correctly their needs, being able to accept sometimes the fact to be challenged in their needs too, and being able simply to well, have a fast exchange and quick exchange with partners or with the integrator in general is, I believe, the main challenge. Maybe if one partner has something to say. So the question was mainly, is there some industries where you feel that it's more challenging to do this integration, this implementation? It's a difficult question, I have to admit. So is there any partner that would like to reply to that particular question? Okay, Ronald, go ahead.
I wouldn't say there is something really specific, because if you, for example, have a manufacturer, they have a lot of complex processes around the manufacturing. They have these difficulties on the BOM, bill of material. If you have a service companies, it's really hard discussions about what's the product, how you set up your product base. So I wouldn't say there's something that is the specific saying this branch is a complexity on its own and the other ones are easier. I wouldn't seriously say that.
Okay. Well, thank you for your answer. Tobias has something to add, I guess.
I can add something. I mean, I think Odoo is a very nice software which is actually suitable for for many industries. So I wouldn't say there's anything particular difficult. I mean, there are some industries that have by nature some complex tools, calculation tools, or something that is urgently needed, and perhaps those are not available in the community yet, but I mean, we have 25,000 apps in the community, so a lot of topics are covered. Yeah, perhaps something very specific for very specific industries in a very specific country or so. But otherwise, I would say Odoo is very open for whatever requirements.
Yes, and I believe the best way to answer that is simply feel free to contact us. So we know that every project is specific. So the best way to handle that question is to see if we can cover specific needs and requirements that you have as a company. And as we said, the methodology is the same for any partner or for Odoo. Is simply first to analyze your requirements, propose you to see a little bit what Odoo can do for you in standards, then maybe do a proof of concept, and then move on to the next stage, which is really like the gap analysis and the real proof of concept for your project. Maybe another question.
There is some question concerning it's more concerning the accounting module. If it's possible to separate different business units. I think it's a really complex question. So what I suggest is to contact us by email, and based on that, we can do a specific demonstration and show you the way that you can manage multiple company in Odoo, the way that you can manage different business units in one company in Odoo.
Exactly. So by being complex, we don't mean that it's really complex. I mean, we have a possibility to handle it, but it will be complex to show it to you right away. And also we have to get more requirements, more info to actually answer that question. So the best way to do that is to contact one of the actors that is present in this presentation. Well, maybe we'll take one or two more questions before ending this presentation.
So there is a question of Manuel, who was comparing Odoo with other solution like a BPM, RPA. Where do we see the advantage and disadvantage of using Odoo? So I think the question is more based on the workflow, if it's possible to use workflow in Odoo. BPM. Yeah, it's something that I didn't show. Maybe I can show just in 2 seconds.
Okay, so Lucas is going to share his screen and show you what is possible.
Yeah, so that's a new app will arrive in the next version of the software. That's an app will allow you to create business process and validation process in Odoo. So a couple of seconds. So here you will see already the next version of the software will be launched in the beginning of October. And we have a new tools to manage validation process in the system. So for example, with Studio, you can say, for example, to send a quotation, you need to create approval rules and say, for example, that will be the sales administrator will have to validate that. And you can say, for example, it is for expected revenue with higher than 10,000 euro. And based on that, the approver will receive a notification that he need to approve before to be able to send a new quotation. And I think what is the best thing with Odoo is really the flexibility. And it's really easy to customize with Studio, but also it's easy to do development with Odoo. And that's really the difference between Odoo and other software such as SAP, for example.
Great. Well, we'll take maybe one last question before ending this meeting.
There is no more question.
Great. So I think it's time to finish this meeting. Again, I would like to thank you for participating to this meeting and thank our partner for joining us for this new subject. So why is Odoo the right solution for mid-market and corporates? Well, we hope we successfully showed you what Odoo can bring to your company. We do believe it's a great integrated, improving your communication, easy to connect, easy to install, to implement in general. And we do believe also we have qualitative partners that can assist you in this integration. And we are all, of course, there to help you. So you can obviously contact also Odoo directly to assess a couple of needs and see what Odoo can bring to your company in general. So thank you, everyone, and I wish you already a good day and speak to you soon.